In this video, we're going to continue looking at doing calculations with dates, but we're going to introduce two really exciting date functions: the end of month and the end date. So coming back to our example in the last video, we looked at how we could calculate the due date by just adding 6 working days. In reality, life is not always that simple. Very often, invoice due dates are calculated from the start of the next month or exactly a month after. So let's say that what someone actually needs is to calculate the due date 5 working days into the next month. The function that can help us with this is the end of month function. It will be at the end of the month after a certain number of months for any given date. Let's have a look. So clicking into E5, we just type equals EO and select EO month. Now we have to give it a start date, and that's going to be our invoice date, and then a comma. Now we can specify a certain number of months before. So for example, if I type -1, that will give me the last date in February. If I add 1, that will give me the last date in April. But I actually want the last date of the end of this month. So I'm just going to put a 0. And you can see it gives me the 31st of March. Now I've got the end of the month. All I need to do is add my 5 working days on. And we already know the function to do that, and that's our workday function. I'll just go back after the equal sign, type in workday. So that's our start, and we're going to add 5 to that. When I press enter and copy down, you can see in every case, it's given me the first working day, 5 days into the next month. And that's our EO month function. Now the other one that's really handy is the EDATE function. What this allows us to do is add a number of months or subtract a number of months from a given date. Let's have a look at it very simply. So in this situation, our invoices are going to be due exactly a month after the invoice date. I'm going to click into E5 and type equals EDATE. And again, we must give it our start date, which is our invoice date, and a comma. And now again, we can add or subtract a certain number of months. And I want to add exactly 1 month. That gives me exactly a month after my invoice date. When I copy it down, however, we're back to our problem of having Saturdays and Sundays. So we still need to convert this to the next available work date. There's, however, one small restriction with the workday function, and I'm going to demonstrate. We only want to add a day if it's a non-work day. So really we want to add 0 days in this case. The problem is, if you put 0 as your value, it does not affect any of the dates. So we have to add or subtract at least 1 when working with the workday function. How do we get around this? Well, simple. We've got to put 1 on here. So what we're going to do is we're going to subtract 1 from here first. What that will do is subtract 1 from the EDATE calculation and then add 1. And if that's not a work day, add any others it needs to make it a working day. Let's see that work. So you'll see this didn't change. It is still the 2nd of the 4th. When I copy down, all the non-working days have now been converted to work days. So there's a little bonus trick on working with the workday function. So two functions we've looked at in this video. They are the end of month and the end date. This week we've looked at a really great selection of functions for working with our dates.